So here I am ready to do my knitted on edging around the neckline. You can start picking up stitches anywhere you want, wherever you find convenient. I would just recommend doing it somewhere on the back or on the sleeve, somewhere inconspicuous. Obviously you don't want to start right in the front center. So here I am at the back right, and I'm going to pick up the entire V. When picking up stitches, you can either pick up the entire V or you can just pick up half of the V. You see, that would be half and that would be the whole. There is no particular, one is not better than the other. It just gives you, sometimes I find if you only pick up half on a very lightweight fabric, you could it can sort of stretch, give a little hole. It's not a major concern. I like picking up the whole stitch. Feels a bit sturdier sometimes, and also you get a nice sort of line of the stitches on the inside. It creates like the whole V is just lining up the inside, and that's kind of attractive. So I'm going to go around and pick up one stitch, pick up and knit. So you see, you just insert your stitch into the V and knit one stitch in every cast on stitch. All right, so now I've picked up one stitch for every cast on stitch. All my stitches are on my needle. So now I'm going to use the cable cast on to cast on 7 stitches onto my left hand needle. So I take my working yarn, I knit into the first stitch, but I don't slip the stitch off the left hand needle. And then instead I slip the left hand needle into that stitch that I just knit, wrap it, knit it again. There's instructions for this in the pattern. And I'm going to want to cast on 7 for the edging. Oops, I didn't mean to take it off. Let's see, what have I done here? So now I have 7 stitches cast on, and I can begin working the cable edging, which is slip the first stitch, knit 2. So then I'm working row 1 here. Worked row 1. Once I get to my last stitch, I'm going to knit 2 stitches together through the back loops. So insert it through the back loops of both. Insert my right hand needle through the back loops of one of the cast on stitches and one of the body stitches. Knit them together. Done. Then I'm going to turn the work. I'm going to slip that first stitch as if to purl, just slipping it, and then work row 2 of the pattern. Now in the pattern, I advise you that you might find it more comfortable to use a DPN rather than trying to do all of this on your circular needles. It does get a little bit awkward, but it is possible. So you can slip this first stitch as, I'm going to slip them all. No, I'm not going to slip it like that. Excuse me. The yarn in back. I'll slip it as if to purl, but with the yarn held in the back. So now I'm on row 3 of the pattern. Whether you slip the stitches as if to knit or as if to purl, you won't, in this case, you're not going to notice a difference. Now I'm at the last 2 stitches again, and I knit them together through the back loops. One from the edging and one from the body of the sweater. And now I'm on my I'm on row 5. Row 5 of the pattern is where you're going to cross your cables. And I'm crossing them without a cable needle. I've got another video about that. Trying to keep it in frame and do this is hard for me. There we go. And then the difference about row 5 is you're now going to knit 3 stitches together. 1 stitch from your edging and 2 stitches from your body together through the back loops, just like that. Complete row 6, which is just a reverse. It's just knit the knits, purl the pearls, and you've done 1 repeat of the cable. So now you're just going to carry on doing that for every single live stitch. And the reason why I have you knit 3 together on every cable crossing, I do it on the cable crossing so it's easy to keep track of and easy to remember. And it decreases, it narrows the width of the opening a little bit. And it also keeps the edging from flaring, because if you just did 1 for 1 every time, if it was all knit 2 together, so the edging would be a bit wider than the actual opening, which isn't a good look. So I'm just going to carry on doing that all around the neck edge. You would do the same thing around the sleeves and the same thing around the bottom. Now the bottom is a different pattern, but it's the exact same principle. So I have now completed the entire knitted on edging. I've got my last 7 live stitches on the needle over here, and where, you know, your last cable crossing may or may not perfectly line up with your first cable crossing. In my case, it's pretty close, it looks pretty good, but it's not, I think I'm 1 row off, and that's to be expected. That's fine. So now I'm just gonna cut, well, I guess I cut an extra long tail because I should have bound off first, but I'm just gonna bind off how I normally do. Well, actually I'll slip the first stitch, purl, because I'm on the wrong side row here, just knit, purl 1, and then slip a stitch over, nothing fancy here. Binding off all my stitches and purl. And then I'm gonna sew the 2 ends of my cable edging together. So my bind off is complete. I'm going to pull the tail through the loop. Then, using a tapestry needle, thread my tail, and then I'm going to use mattress stitch to sew this to this. And so for mattress stitch, you want to pick, it is, I'll admit, like this is a bit sloppy, like it's hard, it's not that easy to, it's not the easiest to visualize, to see. You know, if this were just like a straight stockinette stitch, it would be easier. But I'm going to go pick up the outside V here. So I picked up an entire V. By picked up, I mean thread my needle through the V. And then on the opposite side, I'm going to go on the upside down V. Okay, so here my V is upside down. And then on this side, my V, the V that I pick up is an actual V, like what a V looks like when you write it. So there's the V. And then moving over 1, I'm going to pick up an upside down V. I'm going to go for a V. And if you're having a hard time finding the V's, finding the upside down V's, if this doesn't make any sense to you, look up a tutorial for mattress stitch for 1, and then do your best with that. And then for 2, if your V's and upside down V's aren't perfect, if you end up doing upside down V's on both edges, or, you know, right side up V's on both edges, it's going to be fine, because this is really, this seam is going to be, it's going to be a seam, you know, there's no, it's not going to be totally invisible no matter what you do. But so there, I've done it. Now I'm going to pull my thread a little bit tighter because to just sort of, and that's what that's going to look like. So now I'm just going to put my tail to the wrong side, and then I've ended up with kind of a gap here because I have, this is where I cast on, this is where I picked up the stitches, but I've also got 3 ends here that I'm going to use. Well, here, why don't I just do it right now? I'm just going to sort of zigzag across the back side to close up this hole. I have to weave these ends in anyways, so I might as well just do it this way. And then I usually just weave in my ends by going diagonally, picking up the purl bumps in a diagonal row. For, you know, a little bit. I'm not super fussy about weaving in my ends in any fancy way. I've never had a sweater unravel because I didn't weave my ends in enough. You know, sometimes you see people weaving them in this way and then back again that way. Yeah, I've never had that be a problem. Ta-da! And then after a good blocking, that's going to be perfect.